Please, hush, my darlings, don't cry. Grace's wrist strained against the knots cutting into her skin, her arms trembling as Liam and Noah clung desperately to her chest. Their fists gripped her uniform, tiny faces pressed against her collarbone, their cries sharp enough to rattle the windows. She rocked them as best she could, whispering lullabies through dry lips, her stomach hollow from a day without food. But exhaustion weighed heavy. Her head swam, her body begged to collapse. All she wanted was 1 hour. Just 1 hour to run to the hospital where her own son, Ethan, lay under sterile lights, fighting for his life. 8 years old, pale and weak, lungs ravaged by infection, alone, waiting for a mother who wasn't allowed to come. Her chance to go had been stolen hours earlier. Vivian Carter had swept into the nursery that afternoon with wine in hand, her silk dress swishing, her heels tapping sharply against marble. She looked Grace over with a sneer. That face again. What is it now? Burned dinner? Forgot how to iron. Grace swallowed hard. Please, ma'am. My son is very sick. I need just a little time to see him. Vivian's laughter had rung cruel and loud. Your son? That sickly boy you whine about every week? Why should my home suffer because you can't keep him alive? Grace's voice cracked but stayed steady. 30 minutes. That's all. I'll run there and back. Vivian's smile vanished. She slapped Grace across the face, wine spilling over her manicured fingers. Ungrateful. You're not a mother here. You're a servant. When Grace whispered again, begging, Vivian's eyes hardened. If you won't stay put, I'll make sure you do. She yanked cloth from the wardrobe, shoved Grace onto the bed, and tied her wrists to the headboard while the twins screamed. Grace struggled, pleading, but Vivian pulled the knots tighter, her smirk twisted with satisfaction. You'll sit right there, she hissed. You'll rock my boys, feed them, bleed for them if you must. But forget that boy of yours. He'll die alone, and you'll still be here. She left with a slam of the door, the echo cruel as her words. Now, hours later, Grace hummed brokenly through tears. Mama's here, always here, while her mind wandered to Ethan. Was he awake? Did he ask for her? Did he cry when she never came? Her throat ached as much as her wrists. The sound of the front door unlocking jolted her upright. Heavy footsteps, firm, familiar. The nursery door swung open. Daniel Carter froze. His briefcase dropped to the floor with a thud. His sharp jaw clenched as his eyes darted from Grace's bound wrists to the sleeping twins strapped to her chest. His face blanched. What the hell is this? His voice thundered. Grace flinched, whispering, Sir, please, don't wake the babies. Don't you dare tell me what to do in my own house. Daniel's voice cut like a blade. He stepped closer, eyes burning. Explain. Now. Grace's lips trembled. It wasn't me. The click of heels on marble sliced through the tension. Vivian appeared in the doorway, red lips curved in a careless smile, fresh glass of wine in hand. Oh, Daniel, she drawled, feigning surprise. Back so soon. He turned, his voice like ice. Vivian, what's going on here? She tilted her head, strolling inside as though it were a game. Exactly what it looks like. I caught her lying in our bed while the babies wailed. So I made sure she wouldn't run off again. Daniel's eyes darkened, flicking back to Grace. Her face pale, wrists raw, tears streaking her cheeks. The twins stirred faintly against her chest, their soft breaths breaking the silence. Something in him shifted. Vivian smirked, sipping her wine. Really, darling, you should thank me. I put her in her place. But Daniel didn't move, didn't blink. His silence was dangerous, the kind that carried storms. Grace lowered her gaze, bracing for the judgment she knew was coming. Instead, Daniel took a step forward that made Vivian's smirk falter. And in that moment, the choice he made would change their home forever. Grace's eyes went wide. That's not true, she pleaded, her voice cracking. Mr. Carter, please, you have to believe me. Daniel raised a hand sharply, silencing her. His eyes locked on his wife, cold as steel. You tied her down? Vivian, are you out of your mind? Vivian rolled her shoulders back, twirling the stem of her wine glass as if bored. Don't be dramatic. She's the help. She doesn't get to disappear whenever she feels like it. Especially not to run off and waste time on some sick kid in a hospital. I was tired of listening to her excuses. The words cut through Grace like knives. Her head dropped, tears dripping down her face. My son, he's dying. She wouldn't let me see him. Daniel's head snapped back to her. Your son. His voice broke with disbelief. You never told me you had a child. Grace's chest heaved with shallow breaths. I didn't want to lose this job. I needed the money for his medicine. I thought if I worked hard enough, I could manage both. I never wanted to hide it. I was just afraid. Her voice faltered, choked by sobs. Vivian scoffed, her smirk sharp. See? She hides things. She's untrustworthy. This is what I warned you about. Look at her, pitiful, manipulative, pretending to be a saint while she clings to our boys like they're her own. Daniel's fist slammed against the headboard, the crack of it startling even the twins. Grace gasped, trying to hush Liam and Noah as they stirred against her chest. Enough! Daniel roared, his glare burning into his wife. How dare you treat another human being like this under my roof? How dare you risk the safety of my sons just to humiliate her? Vivian's eyes narrowed. Risk? Don't exaggerate. The twins are fine. Fine. Daniel's voice thundered again. Strapped to a woman who hasn't eaten, hasn't rested, tied like a prisoner? Do you even hear yourself? The room went silent except for Grace's quiet sobs and the tiny whimpers of the twins. Her wrists throbbed in the tight knots, but even through the pain, she rocked the boys gently until they drifted back into slumber. Daniel stepped closer, his tone softening, though his jaw was still set. Grace, tell me everything. From the beginning. She shook her head, ashamed. I don't want trouble, sir. I only wanted to do my duty. But every day she called me worthless, told me I was nothing, refused to let me eat. And today, when I begged for just 30 minutes to see my son in the hospital, she tied me down. She said I belonged to this house, not to him. Daniel's throat tightened as her words sank in. His eyes locked on hers, red, swollen, brimming with pain, and then dropped to the sleeping infants pressed to her chest. Something inside him twisted, guilt heavy in his chest. Vivian, he said slowly, his voice raw with controlled rage. Is this true? She rolled her eyes, her mask of arrogance slipping. Don't act righteous, Daniel. You're the one who hired her. You left me to handle this house while you traveled, and she disrespected me. She needed to learn her place. Daniel's expression darkened. Learn or suffer. Which was it? Vivian's voice sharpened. She's twisting things. She's trying to turn you against me. His tone dropped to a low growl. No, you did that yourself. The silence that followed was suffocating. For the first time, Vivian's smug composure cracked. Daniel turned back to Grace. His hands worked carefully at the knots, freeing her wrists one by one. She winced, skin raw and bruised, but she didn't pull away. When the last rope fell, he gently lifted the twins from her chest, holding them securely against his suit. They nestled into him, their tiny breaths steady, trusting. His eyes never left Vivian. These children trusted her more than their own mother, he said, his voice cold. And now I understand why. Vivian's lips parted in disbelief, but no words came. Daniel looked at Grace again. Her hands trembled as she rubbed the angry red marks on her wrists. She looked so fragile, yet so fiercely protective. He placed the twins carefully back into her arms. For a moment, the sight of her cradling them, broken, exhausted, yet still gentle, spoke louder than any argument. He turned back to Vivian, his voice steady but sharp as a blade. You humiliated her, starved her, bound her like an animal, and you risked our son's safety to feed your pride. Vivian, you've disgraced this home. Vivian's face drained of color. You'd take her word over mine? A maid. Daniel stepped forward, towering over her, his jaw tight. Not just her word. The truth is right here. A mother doesn't need blood to prove herself. Grace showed more loyalty to Liam and Noah than you ever have. Grace's lips quivered, her voice barely more than a whisper. I never wanted to replace anyone. I only wanted to serve this family and hold my son one last time. Her words shattered something inside Daniel. His shoulders stiffened, shame flooding him for never asking, never knowing. He glanced at her wrists, at the tear tracks staining her cheeks, at the quiet strength in the way she soothed his boys. His chest ached with guilt. You'll see your boy tonight, he said firmly, his voice gentler now. Not sneaking away like a servant. As a mother. As you deserve. Grace broke into tears, clutching the twins closer as if she couldn't find the words. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Thank you. Daniel straightened, his gaze locking back on his wife. Vivian trembled, her silk gown suddenly looking more like a costume than armor. You wanted to break her, Daniel said, his tone lethal in its calm. Instead, you broke this marriage. From this night on, nothing will ever be the same for you in this house. The silence was crushing. Vivian's grip on her wine glass slipped, the crystal shattering on the marble floor. She stood frozen, stripped of power for the first time. And in that moment, the balance of the Carter household shifted forever.